Hello guys, let's read this article. Signs that you are a bad programmer. So why you were drawn into a bad programmer? It's not your choice that you are trying to be so bad at programming. So why do we have a sign of a bad programmer? So this author read some article by some author and summarized. So not understanding the goal of the code. If you don't understand the goal of the code, then what are we writing? We don't know. We don't know what we are writing. So we should understand the goal of the code. For the symptoms, variables that are never used, producing irrelevant output, calling functions that are irrelevant to the goal, calling functions like save multiple times. These are also the signs of having no code audited. So there might be no code audit. Maybe a single programmer is writing the code and he had not enough time so that he can audit his own code or finish the project, or maybe the budget is too low. There can be the situation arising from that. So what are the remedies? Use the IDE's own debugger. Inspect the value of variables before and after the change. Maybe it is a kind of systemic problem. You can blame the programmers, but so that these symptoms can arise from other things. That is having enough time, or having not enough will to solve the task, or maybe if it works, then it works. Sometimes programmers work by that method, that if it works for the time. Poor understanding of the language architecture. So is it functional or declarative or object oriented? But if it fulfills the purpose of the organization and if it's easy to maintain, then there is no requirement for understanding the language architecture. Also, the language superset is usually very large and we might not use all the features of the language, which is an irony that programming languages have features so that they make the writing code easier for the humans, not the machines. As humans write the code, and it will be easier for us to use those features to write a maintainable code. But things go wrong. So having joins and relations in client code, multiple versions of same algorithm, people will understand these after practicing and knowing the inner workings of the system. That's why they should have an experience. They should read the senior programmer's code or any other people's code, so people can learn by reading other people's code, reading the basics. It's about gaining the experience. If you have enough experience, then you will not perform joins and relations enforcement in the client code. Maybe this client code means front end, which is even worse than writing in a server-side client code. Treating a relational database as an object store, which reduces a lot of performance. Still bad. So distrust your own code. This is just a kind of habit that we don't trust our own code and write layers upon layers upon layers to our own code, such as writing is null, is not null, is true, it's false, is not false, it's unnecessary. I think this problem arises from having no code review by your peers or having a standard, so that we can have a standard that we can't write these functions. So we only write is null, but we won't write it's not null. So don't carry the habits with a weak type system languages. Be confident about your logic. Have a code review with your peers and have enough budget. Don't lowball the client project. You can do that, and this also happens. People lowball the client's code so they can understand what they have done wrong. It's all about getting the experience and moving on with life. But you should get better over the time, not get worse. Falling into a recursion trap. So what is this recursion trap? You just call the recursive functions. So falling into the recursion trap anyway. If there is recursion trap, I think there is some kind of ending and the program will exit because of a Stack Overflow. When all stack is allocated, I think the dynamic programming languages like Python also have the stack limit so that it won't recurse forever. It's also about having an experience so that you can understand. So understanding what you are doing helps. Also having some kind of confidence and complete sense of what you are doing also helps. But I think recursion is difficult to grab for the first time. Deficient resource skill. Yeah, you can just understand the basics and be able to work, but the depth of the languages are very high. So the skill takes time to build. So copy and pasting code directly when you're struck. If that works, that works. But over time, this skill takes time, and if you can solve problem now, it's better. And if you can even understand that, it's better. Poor understanding of pointers. I think these pointers are used only on C, C++ or low-level languages, and most languages don't have the pointers. So it's easy to understand the pointers, but misunderstood because of lack of practice. Now you have no connection with the hardware, what's happening with the pointer, and only understanding the high-level basics of the pointer won't hit your mind. You won't get an idea of what's happening inside. So I hope we learn something.